Hello everybody, I'm Lavetta from SheBusy Productions, and I'm here to give you an update on months 30 through 34 here with Full Sail University. It's been a long time since I posted an update video, and I do apologize for that, but I was taping my thesis film project and preparing for that, and it was an extremely stressful process. We'll get into that in a minute, but I just wanted to, give you my sincere apologies for that, because, yeah, I know you may have seen some little clips here and there that I had posted, and that was for a client that I was working with, but seriously, the taping of the thesis project was a lot. So let me go back. I think I need to catch you guys up on web design. Web design was a class that we took to help you better design your website, your company logo, and exactly what you wanted your company's outer appearance to look like. So I had formerly had my logo was the lady in the yellow dress, the silhouette of the lady in the yellow dress with the black lines through it. She had an afro, representing me, my afro hair that is not in an afro today. And you had to look at your logo and think about it like as if you were going to print that logo on, let's say, a business stamp or stationery, and how it would look being printed in just black and white, not grayscale, just black and white. And although I loved the logo that I first had, with the web design class, I did see where it could be improved. So now the logo, if you've seen it on anything, is just pretty much the woman from neck up. So it's like head silhouette shape with the afro. The background may be yellow depending. I know it is yellow on the website, but for the class, I made the background just white. The silhouette of the head was just black, and it said SBP across the front, because you had to have something that was noticeably you, but didn't have a lot of tricks and intricate type of designs in it if it were going to just be printed. And with the class, at first I was like, oh my God, I love this logo. I worked really hard on it. But with the class, I saw how I could better perfect it and do better with my company's web presence as a whole, just by having something that was noticeably me, but that wouldn't lose its resolution or its characteristics by being reprinted. So that was web design, and we also got started with WordPress websites and web design, and we had to build the website like pretty much from the ground up. And I ended up liking that website more than I liked the one that I had for the original website for the company. So what I did was I ported it over. I changed the pointers from directing to the old site that I had to directing to the new site that we built in web design. WordPress turned out to be, I'm sorry, I'm looking all over the place. WordPress turned out to be pretty, the ease of use of it was a little bit easier for me after I had taken the classes on it and things like that. So I decided to stick with the WordPress site, but you can still get there by going to shebusyprod.com. prod.com. So you can still get there by going to that, and you can take a look at it. Web design, I ended the class with an A+, which was really cool for me because, I like to keep my stuff A and higher. The next one after that was producing independent film online. This is where I think, wait a minute, is this the one where I ran into a snafu? Yes. This is the class where I ran into an extreme snafu, and I'll tell you all what happened. I was supposed to do my thesis film project, and I've been knowing about the thesis film project since, let me scroll up and look here, over a year. I think we had to set out our pitches and things like that, and it looks like the class that project planning and development, so that would have been April 30th of 2012. So all this time I had been putting together this one project, meaning the storyboards for the one project, the storyboards, script, the AV script, crew, and location scouting, and everything over the past more than a year had gone into, matter of fact, it was actually a year and a half, had gone into planning this one set project. Well, when I got into producing independent film, that started in September, I found out that, was it September? I filmed in November. Yes. I found out in September that the group that I was going to be following could not do the project. Now, mind you, I had spent more than a year on this project. I was heartbroken. Like, you would not believe. Heartbroken, because I had done all of this work, gotten all of these great grades planning this musical documentary, and to find out that I was not going to be able to do that program. So what I did was I contacted my teacher and I told them ASAP, like, this is what's going on. The band that I was supposed to shadow backed out. What do I do? What are my options? And I was pretty much given a deadline of about, I think it was 4 days, to redo over a year's worth of work. So you can imagine my level of hurt and frustration when that came to be. So what I did was I knew of another person who was doing something slightly similar, that I could I approached her and asked her if I could shadow her and get some things done, because she was opening a Christian lounge, and I wanted to see if, maybe she would let me document the process, pitfalls, ups, downs, things like that. And she agreed. I had to redo every last piece of paperwork, and I'm talking at least 50 storyboards. And I don't know if you all know or not, but I use Celtics to make storyboards. And Celtics, I absolutely love it because it's kind of like drag and droppy, and you can set things up the way you want them to. And I usually can just do mine on my iPad. I'll show you. When I wanted to do the overhead shot of a crowd, this is what it ended up looking like. It's just a bunch of, overhead shots of crowds. Hold on, let me see. When I wanted to, let me see, where's another one? You can do camera movement on there as well, because there's, as you can see, a big old, that shows that the camera was circling or panning. Sounds like a bus or something. And then I wanted to show, let me show you one more thing. Okay. How I was going to do a tracking shot. So you can do all kind of great things with Celtics, and it is pretty much just kind of drag the little icons where you want them. This was showing how I was going to set up, where the camera was going to be, where lights were going to be, things like that. Celtics is seriously, it's invaluable when it comes to doing something like this. I've heard of other programs, but this is the one that they first taught us to use with Full Sail, and this is the one I'm most comfortable with. Maybe later on I might get into something else, but for now I'm really, really at home using Celtics. So I redid all the storyboards, I redid the AV script, scene breakdowns. I had a ton of paperwork that had to be done. I had to redo my location scoutings, scene breakdown, AV script, my normal script, all of my storyboards, and just a whole year's worth of work had to be redone in 4 days. So what I did was I stayed up really, really late. And didn't get any sleep a few times to accomplish the project. And I ended up, let me see, that was producing independent film. I got an A+ in that class as well. That class was September was one of the months where, actually September 30th is when this class started. I had two classes at once. So I was juggling both. I had producing independent film and project management and assessment 3. So in project management and assessment 3 I got an A, but in producing independent film I got an A plus. And I'm thankful for that because both of them had a pretty heavy load and I was redoing everything that I had done from a year before. So I'm pretty proud of those grades. Let me tell you about some of the assignments. PIF, which is producing independent film, we had to talk about wardrobe, employees and independent contractors, and decide, how we would like to bill ourselves pretty much. The filmmaker's code of conduct. We had to get our crew contact list together. And even if you are planning on just shooting your film with just you still have to have a crew. I'm thankful I have a daughter who's old enough to work. And you also had to have other people. In a tight situation, you could use a cast member as part of your crew, but they would prefer that you kind of didn't. So it was really hard. We had to do scheduling, schedule the day. That's another thing I had to go back and do over the scheduling. And there was a quiz in that class too, and I got 100% on that. I cannot remember at all what the quiz was about. Let's go back and see what I got in PMA 3. That class was more of discussions on weapon safety, what kind of permits you needed, obtaining your permits. That's another thing I had to go back and do, and how to effectively give a good criticism of another person's work. After that, starting October 28th, I had digital cinematography final project. That's the class that I actually shot everything in. I shot everything between, that class started October 28th. I shot everything between November 2nd, with my final things being shot November 17th. And mind you, I hadn't said anything yet, but my locations that I was shooting were an hour away from my home, and I was shooting a live event of a grand opening that was only going to happen one time. There were no do-overs, retakes, none of that. So I was seriously had my fingers crossed. I was praying and just all kind of stuff to be able to get this done right. I shot a lot of things before. And it just so happened that some of the B-roll, because we did a few flashback scenes, and just so happened I had access to all of the flashback stuff because I had either shot it or knew exactly how to get it. Like some of the stuff was from like way early 80s that I had to convert from VHS tape to a DVD, then put it through Handbrake to get one little snippet of a scene out. It was a big process, but I got it all done, and it was really, really enjoyable. A lot of the stuff, like I said, was shot at the actual event, but leading up to it, there was a lot of dialogue, kind of voiceover in the head, kind of thinking as she was driving. And then there were auditions that were absolutely hilarious. And from the audition, we go into the big day, and I had to do a setup, and then, the whole thing coming to fruition, and then the montage footage. It was really, really good. Everything came together wonderfully. I could not have hoped for a better outcome, considering the fact that I literally had to redo and push everything together all at one time. It was fabulous. Let me see. It was wonderful how it came to pass. Absolutely wonderful. And for that class, I got a digital cinematography final project, because there were some things that I could not avoid. Like, there's no way to, well, I guess you could, but why would you stop a live concert to be like, hey, can you do that over? Or I purchased a camera crane jib for this project, and I had my FS 100 on the jib, and I had a smaller camera on my monopod dolly that you've seen in my past videos if you've been watching, and my daughter had another camera, and I also had use of a GoPro. So I could not always, and this is where having extra crew people comes in handy, I could not always see what the camera on the jib was doing because I was somewhere else. It would have been really, really good to have an extra camera person. So keep that in mind when you're doing things, because there was one shot and it would have been excellent footage, but there was a lady standing up with her head about here in the frame, and the performers were standing here, but she stood there the whole time, so it was just kind of hard. That class I got a B plus, and it really made me sad, but it had been my first B or anything remotely related to that since January of 2012. So I just had to bite the bullet on that one and just be like, whatever, it is what it is. Last month was, matter of fact, it started November 25th, was final project post-production. And that's where you take all of your footage and you bring it all in and you put it together. Let's talk about this. Before, I had been used to submitting like a scene. And so it just so happened that we had a go-to meeting, which is an online lecture, on a Monday at like 9. So I knew that I had to have this scene done. And it was a rough cut. Just, stack them together, however, assembly edit. It may have been an assembly edit. Hold on one second. Let me check. Okay. I can't remember if it was an assembly edit or a rough cut. I'm going to check that out right now, because I was thinking, yeah, here it is. I was thinking that it was an assembly edit where you just line things up the way they're supposed to go and, submit it. I thought that it was for one scene. The project had to be turned in at 11:59, and we were using a program called Concept Share to upload to. And it took a long time for Concept Share to upload, so do not wait till the last minute. I can't say that enough. I've learned the hard way. But as I'm in the go-to meeting with the teacher, it just so happened I was the only one in there, and I hate it when that happens, but in this case I was kind of glad. And I was asking him a question, and I said, so you want a scene? Because that's what we had been doing the month before, submit your pivotal scene, submit your transition scene, submit something else. And the instructor told me, no, I want your whole film. And I said, okay. And immediately during the class, I pushed the window over to the side and started lining things up in the way that I thought that they should go. I believe I got it turned in at like 11:50 on the nose kind of thing. It was horrible, and I decided to never ever push myself to that kind of limit. But I did. And we had, after the assembly edit was the rough edit, where he had given you a critique. And you had to go back and do some fixing and tweaking and modifying. And on Concept Share, everybody else can see your stuff too, so you were able to tell somebody else, oh, I like this, but, or, be a little helpful in your constructive criticism. And I said, okay, this is how we'll work it. There were a few things that I had to redo, and it turned out to be really, really awesome. I got, consistently, I got very awesome grades in that class. Consistently. And I ended that class with an A plus. When that class was all said and done, I'm sorry if you can hear that my phone's ringing. When it was all said and done, I have an A plus in that class. The video was wonderful, and the critiques that the teacher had given me were really, really helpful. And I got to do, I don't know if I bit my tongue, and I got to do closing credits, because originally the project that I was doing was following this one particular band. I had known that I was going to be using nothing but their music during the whole time. Well, it turned out that I had no music to use. So what I ended up having to do was contact another friend, Lily Patrice, who, with her producer, DL Martin, he was... they were so gracious enough to expedite me 2 songs to use during the film. So I've got those songs playing, and those songs turned out being better for the project than I had even hoped that other things would have been. So it was just, it's awesome. I can't wait for everybody to see the film. Right now, the video is private and it's on Vimeo, but it's private because I'm going to go back and do a second edit and make it into an even longer movie, and they're going to have a movie premiere and a showing and things like that. So it's going to be really awesome. And it turned out to where this project, even though it wasn't my original project, it turned out being better for me personally that I went with this one. And I had a thought about this particular project when I first got dealt the other one, when I first picked up the other one, but I said, no, this one might not happen. This one I thought was more solid, and the one that ended up that I thought was solid ended up being like sand in my hand, and it just fell apart. But this one, I mean, it ended up coming to fruition, and it was absolutely beautiful and perfect, and I couldn't have hoped for anything better. But like I said, in time, everyone will see it. If you had been looking at my website in the last week or so, you probably have caught a glimpse of it because it had to be posted and open for my classmates or for my teacher to view. But the minute that was over, I stripped it and took it down because I'm working on, like I said, the movie edit, which will probably be right now. I think the film was at 11 minutes, and I think the movie edit is going to be closer to an hour. And from doing this job, I actually got some other job opportunities that opened up for me. So it's like, everything kind of worked out. The Bible always says, it says all things work together for your good. And even though I was completely heartbroken when the one thing fell through, this turned out being better for me. And I bought an awesome jib crane, which I did have set up and it was running behind me, but it's broken down over here. And I learned that I'm going to need to hire some other people because carrying a lot of this stuff is really, really heavy. This class that I start today, but I don't see it being available, is personal creative development. And sad to say, it's my last class for my bachelor's degree program. I graduate February 7th, 2014, and I was going to be going down to Florida to graduate, but my daughter got invited to go to Europe this summer, so I figured I would let her go to Europe and I would stay here and graduate virtually, kind of like I've been doing. But once I go and take the master's program, I will be going down there to graduate with my master's next year. So, as not to seem so down about it, I am getting my cap and gown. I am taking the day off work. I'm going to sit here in my cap and gown or with my parents or something and listen for them to call my name, stand up, accept it in my mind, and sit down. So yeah, I've got that all planned out. I'm a little crazy, but whatever. It's very early in the morning. So yeah, I'm in my last class now. So far, my grade point average looks stellar. And I'm just kind of waiting to complete it. I've got, this is it. This is my last 30 days in school, and it's kind of, it's interesting. This has been a long and fun and enjoyable ride. And I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for taking the steps with me. And of course, I'll take you right along with me as I do the master's degree program as well. This has been a truly, truly, truly awesome experience. I'm already working on what I'm going to do next, and my next script, and my next project, I promise you, I woke up the other day and my head was full of what can I do, what can I do, what can I do next. So that's everything that I'm going to be doing. I have a lot of stuff planned out, and that's I'm just going to execute it little by little, month by month. I think I'm going to take 1 month off between graduation and picking up on the master's degree program because I think I'll start back in probably the March class. So it's not even going to be a full month. I'm going to graduate in February, go back to school in March or April, depending on when I can get through the process and everything, how fast I can get through it. But this is promising to be an astounding future for me. And to think that, let me see, my first day of school was May 30th of 2011. and I graduate February 7th of 2014. So in under 3 years, I was able to seriously change my whole entire life. And I'm thankful for the thoughts that popped in my head one day. What if I didn't do this forever? What if I went after what I loved? I'm going to tell you, always go after what you love, no matter how old you are, no matter what's stacked against you. With everything being online nowadays, there is no way you can possibly say, I can't do so and so, or I don't have time for this and that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I work a full-time job. I'm a mom. We've got a dog running around here. I have a life outside of this. And I promise you, it's the best decision that you could possibly make for yourself. Go after your dreams. That's why they are your dreams. You chase them, not somebody else. All right, that's enough for now. I think I'm going to go and try and dig up and see what homework I can get into. I'm in Ohio, and we have a calamity day, meaning the weather was entirely too cold for anybody to go to school, so I'm off, which means I'm off from that job, so it's time for me to work this one, and I'm going into it. SheBusy for life. All right, thank you, everybody. Love you all. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, follow me on Facebook, things like that, and Instagram and everything else, because I'm around. All right, thank you so much for watching, and you have a good day. Bye.